Still under the breeze, sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under the degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under the breeze, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling 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 and sipping this tea. Still under the breeze, sip with me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under the degree, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's your under the breeze, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait, so come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling this tea, spilling and sipping this tea, spilling and sipping this tea.
What's going on, Diamond Gang? Y'all know I ain't even supposed to be on here. I was supposed to take a day off, and I just was too busy being nosy, and I couldn't take a day off. But we're going to get back into the war updates. Israel finally did agree to cease fire and start negotiating. But Melania Trump, we're going to get into that. She went behind Donald Trump's back and gave a speech. And it was in regards to Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump had no idea that she was doing this. I'm going to tell y'all right now, something big is about to come out. When you see things like this happen, that means something big is about to come out, and she's trying to detach herself from the situation. Donald Trump is enraged. He is crashing out online. The Republicans are mad as hell right now. Yeah. Yep. And that's the only reason why I came on today. I was going to let it go because there's not much going on, but the same thing that was happening yesterday, except for Israel did agree to sit down. But this Melania Trump thing is big. It's big. So I'll probably will be giving an update on the Jeffrey Epstein case. Pam Bondi says she's not going to testify. So, but yeah, Melania gave a whole speech. She wants people to stop saying that she met Donald Trump through Jeffrey Epstein. She said that she sent one email to Ghislaine Maxwell. So Trump is very mad, and the Republicans are very mad because she did not tell him, which means there's something going on. And when this happens, usually a big story is getting ready to break. So he created this whole war to take everybody's mind off the Epstein files, only for it to be coming right back. It's going to hit him right back in his face. So without further ado, if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Shouts out to all my subscribers and my moderators. Pretty soon, I will not be going vertical. Once I hit 3K, over 3K subscribers, I will be on StreamYard and StreamYard only. I'll come over here every now and then. But all right, without further ado, I'm going to bring up my screen. We about to get into some things.
We have to be realistic about the Republican Party. The Republican Party needs burned to the ground. It's completely controlled. As a matter of fact, much of Congress is controlled by AIPAC and by Zionists. And
another thing, too, they hurried up and shut Congress down to stop the Democrats and a couple of Republicans from trying to impeach Donald Trump. So we'll get into that as well. I forgot about that. Yeah, they did some real slick stuff.
That is a serious problem. I fear that we will see a nuclear bomb used on Iran. And I think that'd probably be the worst thing we could see in our lifetimes, is a nuclear bomb used on anyone. You save American troops' lives by get the hell out of the Middle East. We had no business there to begin with. And the truth is, look, you may have...
Diamond Gang, I do have proof that they are lying about the fatalities, about the injuries. A soldier is home, and they had to keep him concealed. But he told the truth today about what's going on over there in the Middle East. So we're going to get into that too.
Supported President Trump for 10 years like I did, like you have. But this is not the same man. This is not the same man that we supported.
Where have the Republicans been during this whole I'm going to decimate a civilization? Yeah. Let's just say,
where are they?
What should be said in a moment like this? When a president says something like that, you have to wonder.
Here.
Congress was not planned. They tried to move on that impeachment today. And they shut Congress down, I think, until, I can't remember, but we'll get into it.
Here.
About the stability of the individual and whether it is safe and whether what is being said applies to the Constitution or is actually a war crime. Republicans, this was a moment to do your job. Where were you? Where are you? Do you even exist? Are you that pathetic? Do you love him too unconditionally to the point where you put everything everything behind you and only have him in front of you like he's some sort of deity. Is that what?
Diamond Gang, please, all I'm asking for is a like. I don't care about a super chat, super sticker, none of that. Just or a Cash App. Just a simple like will do. Thank you.
Where we are?
That's a fair question.
Is that where we are, that you can't even say what's right when he threatens to decimate a civilization? Do you want to know what? I have to say, I feel bad for you, because at this point you have Trump adjacent and Trump supporting platforms that usually, quite frankly, are right there with you, who are pushing back. And
But his assumption now is, okay, the war's over. It's all over, guys. We're all friends.
And Diamond Gang, I believe this right here. Trump thinks of joint tolls with Iran. He wants to join in, and that's why I believe he told them, yes, they can have control of the straits, because he thinks it's going to be a business venture. This is ridiculous.
Let's make some money together. You've got to look at the way that Donald Trump is seeing all of this, is that he thinks the Iranian regime is as transactional as he is. And I'm just going to quote to you what Jonathan Karl actually said on X. I asked President Trump if he's okay with the Iranians.
The Ayatollah today said that he wants revenge for his father's death. He vowed that. This peace is not going to last long.
Charging a toll for all ships that go through the Strait of Hormuz. He told me there may be a joint US-Iran venture to charge tolls. We're thinking of doing it as a joint venture. It's a way of securing it, also securing it from lots of other people. It's a beautiful thing. He's treating them as if they're Venezuelans, actually, isn't he? He's assuming, rightly or wrongly.
What's up, Melanated? Welcome, welcome, welcome. And he's trying to gear up for his next conquest, which is Cuba.
We don't necessarily know for certain that it's wrong, but his assumption now is, okay, the war's over. It's all over, guys. We're all friends. Let's make some money together. And that will be enough to convince this regime, which he was previously calling all the names under the sun, that it's worth doing business with him. I mean, that is Donald Trump, the man, isn't it? That is genuinely him.
So it looks like the war with Iran is starting up again, because last night Donald Trump put out this statement at around midnight saying that the shooting may start soon.
If you're new here, anybody that's new here, I always start where we left off. So this is where we left off last night.
And that the American military is looking forward to its next conquest. He said all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of a substantially degraded enemy will remain in place in and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it's not, which is highly unlikely, then, quote, the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than has ever been seen before. It was agreed a long time ago, and despite all the fake rhetoric to the contrary.
So Diamond Gang, he's still threatening. He's still threatening these people.
No nuclear weapons, and the Strait of Hormuz will be open safe. None of that has happened yet. In the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting, looking forward actually to its next conquest. America is back, Donald Trump says. Yeah, I think it's incredibly likely that we're back to war with Iran in the next 24, kind of 48 hours timeline. I mean, this is absurd. The shooting starts. They're excited for conquest. I mean, this is insane, just utterly insane.
There were no Iranian missiles in the air over Tel Aviv last night, and my contacts in Iran also tell me they have the first peaceful sleep they'd had in weeks with no U.S. or Israeli.
This is insane right here. Their first night of sleep.
Attacks. Millions of people in the region are breathing a huge sigh of relief, but not in Lebanon or the north of Israel. The Iranian-backed militia Hezbollah fired rockets into the north this morning, and that was a retaliation for Israel's ferocious attack on Hezbollah in Lebanon yesterday, both in the countryside and in the capital, Beirut. Those strikes, as you mentioned, killed 254 people and injured more than
So he hit 100 targets in less than 10 minutes, y'all. Israel, Bibi did this yesterday.
1,000 more, and they may end up killing a ceasefire. Iran's deputy foreign minister told British TV a short time ago that Iran is only going to send its negotiating team to Pakistan for talks with the U.S. This weekend if Israel stops its attack.
Diamond Gang, I appreciate the likes. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
attacks on Hezbollah, but Israel's prime minister posted on social media this morning the attacks are going to continue. So it's a standoff, and today is going to be critical.
After President Trump declared total and complete victory, his key requirement still hasn't been met. Iran saying the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. And this isn't even supposed to be the hard part. That's going to come when the parties sit down this weekend in Pakistan to try to hammer out a long-term deal.
This weekend is going to be total chaos with these negotiations. And now that Melania Trump went behind Trump's back and did that speech in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, I'm telling y'all, something big is getting ready to happen.
The firing hasn't ceased entirely. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, the UAE, and Iran all reported new strikes yesterday.
No ceasefire ever goes without a little bit of choppiness.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth chalked it up to delayed communication among Iranian forces.
Iran would be wise to find a way to get the carrier pigeon to their troops out in remote locations to know not to shoot any longer.
An even bigger dispute erupted over this. More than 100 Israeli strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon. Overnight, the Israeli military said it killed the nephew of Hezbollah's leader in Beirut. The strikes started without warning hours after the ceasefire went into effect. Pakistani officials.
Israel is trying to create a civil war. I'm just letting y'all know. And we'll go into that too later on into this live.
Officials who brokered the ceasefire insisted it included Lebanon, but Israel and the White House disagreed.
I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise.
Iran responded by restricting.
Last night, I showed you guys that was a total lie. It was in the agreement.
The one thing that mattered most to the president, passage of oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz.
I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly, and safely.
Vice President Vance is set to sit down with Iranian officials in Pakistan this weekend to try to hammer out a long-term peace deal. But already the battle lines are being drawn over Iran's nuclear program. Iran says it has the right to enrich uranium. Trump says there will be no enrichment.
Frankly, the president has all the cards here.
Democrats disagree.
The United States' diplomatic position and credibility in the world is dramatically worse because of this war.
So that part, the credibility of the U.S. is down the tank.
So this ceasefire was already fragile, and now there is a new warning from federal officials. They say Iran-linked cyber attacks are now targeting U.S. energy and water systems with the goal of causing disruptive effects inside the United States. Authorities say some hacks have already led to operational disruption and financial loss at critical facilities.
So there's not a lot of clarity today on the ceasefire between the United States and Iran. It seems to be holding kind of, although yesterday the Iranian parliament came out and said there's too many violations. This doesn't make sense anymore. Technically, the U.S. and Iran have not attacked each other today, so maybe it's holding. But some hangups here is...
And again, if you're just coming in, I always start where we left off and all the way up until right before I get on. So this was happening earlier in the day prior to Israel agreeing to negotiations.
The Strait of Hormuz is not open. All right, there were like 4 ships went through yesterday. That is way, way down. In fact, that's down from the last couple of weeks of the conflict. Like before the ceasefire, there were more ships going through. So the strait isn't fully open, not by a long shot. Also, the initial announcement from President Trump was about this 10-point Iranian peace plan. Well, that is bad. All right, that does not address their nuclear program, their missile program, their proxies.
And the only reason why Trump and Hegseth is coming back saying that was an old agreement, saying that there was a gap in communication is because of what was being said. They put Iran in a much better position and put them basically in total control.
It pulls all U.S. forces out of the Middle East and removes all sanctions. So like that's a problem if the United States were to agree to that. It looks like that feedback made its way to the White House. And yesterday we heard a lot of course, that's not the 10-point plan. It's a different 10-point plan.
Diamond Gang, they backtracked. I mean, they were all over the place yesterday. They got caught in so many lies.
That's the only one we've really seen circulating, and Iran has repeated that one. Iran has put that one out. We haven't seen what other plan the United States is talking about. But notably, last night, Iran, when they said this new situation is not going to work for a ceasefire, they talked about enrichment. Their agreement is that they will have the ability to enrich, enshrined in law, after in a agreement when this is all said and done. Again, that's a problem for the United States and the world, but that's their view of the agreement that's been reached so far. President Trump walked out yesterday and said, no, absolutely no enrichment. So I'm not even sure they're looking at the same document at this point. Everybody's kind of saying everything. So technically, the ceasefire is still in place. The Strait of Hormuz is not open.
That part, everybody's saying a little bit of everything.
Israel is continuing attacks. The fighting is continuing in southern Lebanon between Israel and Hezbollah. We'll see what today brings, I guess.
It's day 2 of the ceasefire, and as Mary said, it's already looking shaky. The Iranian regime claiming that the temporary agreement to halt hostilities has already been violated, in particular by escalating Israeli attacks against Iranian-backed militia Hezbollah in Lebanon.
As quick as Bibi agreed to talk, he threatened them, just like Trump turned around and threatened them and said that they are ready. They got their fingers on the trigger.
President Vance insisting Lebanon was never part of the ceasefire agreement, but Iran and mediators Pakistan have both said a ceasefire in Lebanon is part of the agreement. Iran's deputy foreign minister today warning the US must choose war or peace in the region. Israel launching its largest attack against Hezbollah so far in this war. This morning, the Lebanese health ministry saying that
Trump made a phone call to Bibi and he is not happy. He does not want to do this. So he's looking for a reason to violate.
200 people were killed, 1,000 wounded. Iran now threatening it'll retaliate if attacks on Lebanon don't stop. But Hezbollah also striking here in Israel today with multiple rockets. And Prime Minister Netanyahu insisting his country must be able to defend itself. But despite the ongoing tension, talks between the US and Iran, as Mary says, are still expected in coming days.
Israel is seizing territory from its neighbors, and it could be reshaping the Middle East for years to
take a look at this. I'm telling you guys, Israel is trying to start a civil war.
come. Even as the US and Iran work toward a ceasefire, Israel is creating buffer zones in Gaza, Syria, and now Lebanon. It's a strategic shift that puts the country in what some Israeli military and defense officials describe as a semi-permanent state of war. This approach stems from a harsh reality after 2.5 years.
And I said this yesterday. When you have two different objectives and you go in together without a plan B, this is what happens. Our objectives is way different than Israel. All right, damn it.
Years of conflict, Israel's leaders believe Iran's clerical leadership, Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and regional militias cannot be eliminated outright. Israel's leaders have concluded that they are in a forever war against adversaries who have to be intimidated and...
So, bingo. Israel said they are in a forever war. Why would you engage in this? I still don't understand why Trump would engage in this.
Even dispersed. That's a quote from Nathan Brown at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Reporter Maya Jabali is in Beirut, witnessing the human cost of the strategy.
Yesterday, we saw a really heavy barrage of strikes all across Beirut, across southern Lebanon, and across the east. There have been more than 200 people killed across the country just in a day, which makes it the deadliest day since war resumed on.
When Bibi found out about the 48-hour, the ceasefire, the 2-week ceasefire, he got angry. And he, like I said, he literally struck 100 targets in 10 minutes.
March 2nd in Lebanon. And what people are really bracing for is for yesterday to happen again and again.
Israel's ground invasion in Lebanon is designed to clear a so-called buffer zone right up to the Litani River. That's roughly 8% of Lebanese territory. In Gaza, Israel controls over half the territory, even after a ceasefire with Hamas. But this strategy comes with massive challenges. The increased personnel needed to patrol fronts across Lebanon, Gaza, Syria, and the occupied West Bank could strain military forces. For the full analysis by Maya Jabali, Rami Ayub, and Emily Rose, head to Reuters.com.
In a phone interview moments ago, Donald Trump said everything is going great regarding negotiations. However, Iran's new leader issued a statement vowing to seek revenge for what the United States and Israel have done. Here's what Trump said. We're going to have a very successful agreement. It's going to be very good. Everything's going to work out very good. When he was asked about Netanyahu, Trump said Netanyahu is on board with the agreement. When he was asked about Lebanon, he said Netanyahu is going to be fine. He's got a problem with Hezbollah, but he's going to be absolutely fine. At the same time, here's a statement directly from Iran's supreme leader. Iran will seek revenge for attacks on it. We'll take men.
Diamond Gang, I'm so serious. I doubt very seriously this is going to work out.
Of the Strait of Hormuz into a new phase. Iran is resolute in taking revenge of its late supreme leader and its martyrs. It's also being reported that Iran has ruled out negotiations entirely with the United States and will keep the Strait of Hormuz closed until a full ceasefire is established in Lebanon. Once again, it seems like Donald Trump is deliberately lying to us and pretending that everything's okay when it's clearly not. Iran is no longer going to negotiate with us. They have the Strait of Hormuz closed and they're actively seeking revenge.
Israel has continued to attack Lebanon, saying it is not part of this ceasefire, despite your Prime Minister, Sharif, saying it is. Can you clarify what the parties of this war have agreed to there? And are you concerned Israel could derail the broader ceasefire agreement at this point?
Well,
He was trying hard. I mean, Bibi was trying very hard.
The description and understanding has come from the highest level in Pakistan, so it could not have been more authentic in terms of the offer made by the Prime Minister and accepted by the two conflicting parties of affording a ceasefire for 2 weeks. So it could not have been more authentic, and the understandings associated with it could.
Now listen, this is Pakistan. This is who put this 2-week ceasefire deal together. They have no reason to lie. Let's go.
Not have been more true. But of course, this is a situation of a ceasefire that could be disrupted, and there have.
And the crazy part of it is that the U.S., we gave them the statement to issue. We did that. That was proof that it was what it was. Don't backtrack now.
Been instances in the past where ceasefires have been disrupted, so we perhaps would all want for the best to happen.
So you're confirming that, as far as the Prime Minister is concerned, that Lebanon is included in this ceasefire, despite what we have heard from the Prime Minister's office in Israel today?
Well, as Pakistan is a faithful facilitator, I think the understandings coming from the highest level in Pakistan need to be accorded primacy and certainly authenticity.
So the answer is yes. Okay, thank you, sir.
This is... Gang, you heard it. The answer was yes. They were included. Lebanon was included.
Breaking news. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says their fingers are on the trigger and they are ready to resume the war with Iran if the negotiations this...
That part. Once they agreed to negotiate, here they go, just like Trump, threatening. How do you expect to negotiate and you're threatening people?
We can fall through. Iran is threatening to walk away as the Israelis continue to strike Hezbollah targets inside of Lebanon. The U.S. and Israel are united in saying a ceasefire in Lebanon was never part of the deal.
It looks like the ceasefire is about to fall apart before meetings even take place tomorrow. Iran says they're not even going to go to the meetings if Israel keeps striking Lebanon. Iran's deputy foreign minister says these strikes must stop within the coming hours. He even added that Iran was on the verge of responding to the ceasefire violation last night before Pakistan intervened. Now they're saying they're only going to attend the ceasefire.
Shouts out to Pakistan. You got to give it to them.
Talks tomorrow if Israel halts strikes on Lebanon within hours. Trump is also escalating tensions by saying all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of Iran will remain in place until such time as the real agreement is reached. Adding that if for any reason it's not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts, bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. Iran's about to walk away from this ceasefire, and it doesn't seem like the United States or Israel has any plans to stop striking Lebanon, despite the fact Pakistan's prime minister explicitly mentioned not striking Lebanon in the original ceasefire post.
Bingo. The original ceasefire post was given to Pakistan by us, including Lebanon. So for them to backpedal and lie for Bibi was crazy to me. That's what they did. Trump and Pete Hegseth backpedaled and lied for Israel. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Some warning signs coming from Iran right now about these negotiations that are scheduled to take place in Pakistan over the weekend. Vice President Vance is leading the U.S. delegation that will also include Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. But now we're hearing from Iran almost some doubt that this could go forward under the current circumstances, given Israel's ongoing strikes against Lebanon. The Iranian deputy foreign minister says, "We hope that America could control its ally," referring to Israel as they call on the U.S. to get Israel to call off these strikes. That foreign minister also saying, "At this moment, as I'm talking, I hope we can proceed to go to Pakistan." That is not sounding very firm. You also heard from the Iranian president who said that if Israel continues.
No, I will say this. I watched all the way up until it was time for me to come on. Everything is still okay. It's just the crash out from Melania going behind Trump's back. I mean, he's crashing.
Use these attacks, the negotiations could be rendered meaningless. And they said that Iran's hands will stay on the trigger and they will never abandon their Lebanese brothers and sisters. So certainly sounds like Lebanon is now a firm line for Iran about these negotiations going forward. This is a critical 24 hours now, Perry. The vice president would have to depart tomorrow to be in Pakistan by Saturday for these talks. And we will be watching closely to see what signals we're getting from the White House about this proceeding.
We're going to get into NATO, too. We're going to get into NATO.
Iran is now claiming the Strait of Hormuz is open for some ships. How critical would that be?
This was the president's key demand for a 2-week ceasefire, that Iran had to reopen the strait or else he was going to go forward with that threat of escalation of strikes against Iran. Now, yesterday, Iran was indicating they weren't reopening it. Now, today, they're saying they have reopened it. We are keeping a close watch on the number of ships that do get through. But Perry, of course, there are still bigger questions about this is the short term. What happened?
That part. NATO is defensive organization. It is not for joining allies in offense. We're going to get into that. I got a good clip. I mean, this clip is, they stood up to him. They really did. Okay, let's go.
Happens in the medium and long term. Who controls the strait? The president telling John Carl that there could be a joint venture between the U.S. and Iran, that they could control this together, maybe even charge tolls. Not clear how that would work, and the White House has not said.
Donald Trump is now calling the Iran 10-point proposal a complete hoax, despite the fact he referenced it himself in his ceasefire announcement. He says the failing New York Times and fake news CNN each reported a totally fake 10-point plan on the Iran negotiations, which was meant to
the deflection is crazy.
Credit the people involved in the peace process. All 10 points were a made-up hoax. Evil losers. But here's the post in which he announced the ceasefire. And as
there it is, right there. And then they quickly took it down. There it is. On behalf of the United States, they handed this to Pakistan.
You can tell at the top, he clearly says, we received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it's a workable basis on which to negotiate. The 10-point proposal came directly from Iran. It was widely reported. Now Donald Trump is trying to say it's nothing more than a hoax. We're also learning the White House actually signed off and approved of the post made by the Pakistan Prime Minister announcing the ceasefire, where he explicitly mentions not targeting Lebanon. One of the
Bingo. There it is. There it is right there.
Key 10 points on the Iran proposal. The White House approved of that point before the post was even made. Now, after violating it, they're trying to say the 10-point proposal was entirely fake.
This is breaking news.
I don't know what Bibi has on Trump, but it's coming. It's going to come out. For Melania to give that speech behind his back in regards to Jeffrey Epstein, I promise y'all, something within real soon is going to happen. It's going to happen. Something big is coming.
Iran is now threatening to walk away from the negotiating table, with their president just saying the continuation of these aggressions will render negotiations meaningless. Our hands will remain on the trigger, and Iran will never abandon its Lebanese brothers and sisters.
Earlier this week, a list of 10 Iranian demands was circulating, and it looked as if this was the list agreed to enter into the 2-week ceasefire that is temporarily ending Operation Epic Fury. But a White House official tells Fox News that's not the case. They say this is an old list and that the Iranians were trying to circulate it in order to strengthen their position at the negotiating table. President Trump, according to...
Here's the thing. If it was an old list, where is the new one? It still hasn't been produced because this was the list. These lies got to stop.
This official actually agreed to a separate set of terms to enter into this 2-week ceasefire agreement to temporarily end Operation Epic Fury. Now, we know this weekend Vice President J.D. Vance, along with Special Envoys Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner, are traveling to Islamabad, Pakistan. They will meet there with an Iranian delegation to try and hammer out the details of a broader agreement to end the war. And some of the points of contention are expected to be Iran's enriched uranium. President Trump this week said an agreement was reached to dig up and take away that enriched uranium that was buried after Operation Midnight Hammer last summer. Another point of contention is the Strait of Hormuz, this critical waterway where around 20% of the world's oil passes through. The Iranians have threatened to keep the waterway closed if Israeli strikes continue against Lebanon, or if other terms of the temporary ceasefire.
Yeah, he definitely was building the bunker in the new ballroom, and they stopped the project.
Agreement aren't upheld. We do know there was one development this afternoon. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced direct negotiations are set to begin between Israel and the Lebanese government, with 2 goals in mind: to develop peaceful relations between the 2 countries and to disarm Hezbollah. This may help at the negotiating table in order to keep the Iranians there and move these conversations forward.
So he finally did agree to speak to them. We're going to see how long that lasts, because this is something that he does not want.
News: Iran says it will only attend Saturday's Islamabad ceasefire talks if Israel halts strikes on Lebanon within hours. The deputy foreign minister told ITV News. He added that any deal must include Lebanon and that Iran held back retaliation last night after the U.S. pressured Israel to stop the strikes. In response, Israel this morning has ordered the evacuation of the whole south of Beirut, telling everyone to leave. Iran has stated that they are ready to start striking Israel once again if Israel doesn't stop this aggression on Lebanon. But Israel's defense minister, Israel Katz, stated the IDF is prepared to escalate if Iran attacks and will continue striking Hezbollah targets across Lebanon.
And that's insane, because they held off. They held off because they want this to work.
Including in and beyond the Litani River. Iran's president released a statement this morning threatening to back out of the ceasefire agreement. The repeated aggression by Israel against Lebanon is a flagrant violation of the initial ceasefire agreement and a dangerous indicator of deceit and lack of commitment to potential accords. The continuation of these aggressions will render negotiations meaningless. Our hands will remain on the trigger, and Iran will never abandon its Lebanese brothers and sisters. In my opinion, Israel is doing 2 things. They are trying to sabotage the ceasefire. They don't want one in Iran, and especially in Lebanon. And 2, I believe they are trying to trigger a civil war in Lebanon.
Bingo. Didn't I just say that? Didn't I just say that? Forever wars.
The reasons I believe this: first, they bombed a Lebanese forces leader a couple days ago and blamed Hezbollah. But that turned out to be a lie. There wasn't Hezbollah in that unit. The target was the Lebanese forces leader, trying to get Hezbollah's enemies angry at Hezbollah and triggering something. Second, yesterday, they did.
Bibi is a shit starter. There's no better way for me to say it. He lies and he draws other countries into bullshit. That's it. That's all. I ran into a couple of guys today, and they were from the Middle East. And I asked them, what did they think about this? And they said, I don't like Iran at all, but Bibi is a piece of shit. That's what the man told me.
That massacre with the bombing, killing hundreds and wounding almost 1,500 civilians. To me, this was to get civilians angry and turn on Hezbollah, so they would think that these bombings are happening because of them. Third, on X, I started seeing pro-Israel pages and even Israeli pages mentioning that Hezbollah and Ahmad tried to start a coup and remove Nawaf Salam from office, which I think is total BS. They are trying to spin this two ways. That Hezbollah wants to take over the government, which would really piss off the Christians and the Sunnis because the prime minister is a Sunni. Again, trying to ignite a civil war. Then they said today that's the reason for those bombings yesterday was because Israel got wind of this coup and decided to bomb the crap out of Beirut to stop the coup from happening. I don't believe a coup is about to happen. I just think Israel is planting these seeds in people's heads. So this can—
Bingo. That's what Bibi does. Just like he planted that seed in Trump's head.
So this can trigger anger with Hezbollah and start people condemning Hezbollah, pushing back against them and starting a civil war, and also trying to completely take the blame off themselves. Israel wants a civil war and destabilization in Lebanon so they can take control. It's what they did in Syria. It's what they did with the Palestinians by funding Hamas and creating a division between the PLO and Hamas, which creates destabilization. It's what they did. It's what they try to do in Iran with this whole new war that they started, but it's not happening. And I don't think it's going to happen in Lebanon either.
This is breaking news. We just received a historic statement on Lebanon from Prime Minister Netanyahu, which reads, in light of repeated requests from Lebanon to open direct negotiations with Israel, I instructed the cabinet yesterday to begin direct negotiations as soon as possible, saying that the goal is established.
Trump finally got some balls and called him. He made a phone call to him today.
Peaceful relations between Israel and Lebanon. The reason this is so significant is that these two countries have never signed a formal peace agreement and do not have direct diplomatic relations with one another, now about to begin direct talks.
This is a big deal for them to start direct talks. This is a big deal.
Check in here on the very fragile ceasefire, U.S.-Iran ceasefire right now. A couple major developments on Thursday. First, the Israeli government, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu, says he will now engage in negotiations as soon as possible with the Lebanese government in regards to dealing with the Hezbollah terror group that operates inside Lebanon. A reminder that the Iranian government, the Islamic regime, sponsors Hezbollah and was led to believe that the Israelis would stop attacking Hezbollah as part of the ceasefire. The U.S. and Israel initially said, no, that's not part of the deal here. But the Iranians threatened to pull out of the ceasefire here. And it appears following a phone call from Trump to Netanyahu that the Israelis will now engage in negotiations there. The big issue with Hezbollah is that for a couple decades now, the Lebanese government has committed to disarming the group that operates within its own territory, has made multiple promises to do so, but has failed to do so. So that'll be key to those talks. So that is a situation we'll continue to monitor because things are pretty shaky right now. Another situation we're watching is in the Strait of Hormuz, where the Iranian regime still is not allowing in many boats. There are thousands of boats trapped in the Persian Gulf. And on the other side of the Strait of Hormuz, trying to make their way through oil, gas, fertilizer, a whole variety of things pass through there. 20% of the world's oil passes through there. Now, while oil remains...
Diamond Gang, please and thank you. Can you hit the like? I don't care about a Cash App, Super Chat, Super Sticker. A like is free. Thank you.
Much cheaper than it was a couple days ago. Pre-ceasefire, they're still only allowing a couple of boats through. The Iranians are charging either in Bitcoin or yuan several $1 million. They've set up a toll.
$2 million. They have a toll booth, which is against international law. That's insane.
of sorts into an international waterway, which is against the law, to let boats through, saying if you don't follow our rules, something bad might happen to you. And that's effectively why boats are stuck there. The big thing we'll be watching in the coming days are peace negotiations, or at least more long-term ceasefire negotiations in Islamabad, Pakistan. The U.S. delegation is headed there. J.D. Vance will be heading that up. The Iranians are headed there as well, and that'll be the next major development here. But it appears we're going to see a calming in Lebanon, which was a key demand of the Iranians, and we'll continue to monitor things as they happen.
For the first time, we're seeing video from.
I want to show you the video of when they bombed. They did the 100 targets, gang.
In the aftermath of what was the deadliest Iranian strike on U.S. military personnel since the war began. In fact, it was the deadliest attack on U.S. troops in 5 years. It happened on the first day of hostilities when an Iranian drone struck a command post of American troops in Kuwait. It was called the Port of Shuaibos, right off the southern coast. The attack killed 6 Americans.
Let me apologize. This is when the war first began. I do have a clip of the strikes that just happened yesterday.
Injured dozens of others, and we actually spoke exclusively with one soldier who survived the attack, and he said that Army leadership actually knew that this attack was possible.
This is it. I don't know who was in here in the beginning, but this is the soldier that they have him like, they're concealing, his identity. He's telling the truth. I told you guys in the beginning of this live stream, Pete Hegseth is lying. They are lying about the fatalities. They are lying about the injuries. Here it is right here. Here's the proof.
Possible, but failed to prepare for. Now, we agreed to hide his identity and alter his voice because he's speaking with us without the military's permission.
The survivor.
He's coming up. I can't believe. No, I hope I did not cut this guy off. I think I did. Oh, I wanted you guys to hear him. I'm sorry.
Of the Iranian strike in Kuwait that killed 6 U.S. service members and injured 20 others are saying Pete Hegseth and the Department of War are lying about the entire event, saying that they were in a completely defenseless position. They were not prepared, and they were just sitting targets as they moved closer to Iran. It was a known area that would be a target, and they were sent there anyways with no.
This is the same story told by a different person. So Pete Hegseth lied. They were sent there and they knew. They knew. I brought it back just a little bit.
Permission.
The survivors of the Iranian strike in Kuwait that killed 6 U.S. service members and injured 20 others are saying Pete Hegseth and the Department of War are lying about the entire event, saying that they were in a completely defenseless position. They were not prepared, and they were just sitting targets as they moved closer to Iran. It was a known area that would be a target, and they were sent there anyways with no explanation as to why that made any sense to them. And now they want answers, but they're telling their story, and it completely contradicts what Pete Hegseth is saying, what Trump is saying, and the entire administration. One of the service members even told CBS News that painting the picture that one squeaked through is a falsehood. And they want everyone to know that they were unprepared and in an unfortified position, completely contradicting Pete Hegseth's story that it was a squirter, whatever he called it, that a drone just got through their defenses. They're saying that's not what happened. Let me know what you think about this.
That is insane. And if you guys are not aware, pretty soon they're going to start a draft.
The comments, like, share, spread the word, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
We have some big news right now. Donald Trump is furious again that European allies aren't going to help the United States and has now given them an ultimatum. According to Der Spiegel reporting this morning, Trump has given European allies in NATO just days to commit warships to the Strait of Hormuz, effectively threatening them to clean up his own mess that he started. They didn't start this war. He did. And
listen, Diamond Gang, my next video, I'm telling you, it has everyone that was in that meeting with Trump. And they basically told him flat out, no. And he's mad.
Despite saying publicly before that we don't need NATO, he's given them an ultimatum that they have to either put up or face consequences from the United States, including possibly the United States trying to pull out of NATO. And this morning he put out a Truth Social post ranting about
He's threatening Greenland again.
this, saying, quote, none of these people, including our own very disappointing NATO, understood anything unless they have pressure placed upon them. And pressure he is placing right now as we speak comes as Iran is threatening to walk away from the ceasefire because Israeli bombing of Lebanon continues. And yesterday was the deadliest bombing since the start of the war. More than 200 people were killed in Beirut. I'll have more updates for you very soon. As always, spread the word and follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. More to come very soon.
Donald Trump stroking out on Truth Social after an embarrassing meltdown and after his supposed big victorious big boy ceasefire with Iran has completely failed. After Trump's meeting with Mark Rutte, posting NATO wasn't there when we needed them and they won't be there if we need them again. Remember Greenland, that big, poorly run piece of ice.
He's threatening them again. This is insane. They stood up to him. I cannot wait to get to that clip.
There are two stories here. Number one, Trump doesn't understand how NATO works. NATO, under Article 5, requires member nations to come to the defense of other member nations if they are attacked.
Bingo. Someone just said that in the chat. Someone just said that in the chat.
This would be, for example, if Putin attacks the UK, the US under Article 5 must come to the shared defense of the UK. Cool. Trump tried to use Article 5 to force NATO nations to get involved in Trump's war against Iran in the Strait of Hormuz to reopen it. Trump's argument being his choice to attack Iran, the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz, is a form of a NATO ally being attacked. And therefore, they must come to the defense of the United States.
No, it's not. This guy is insane.
Just not what it is. It doesn't work that way. And Trump is furious. That's story number one. He misunderstands NATO. Number two, there's this broader disrespect for institutions. And my view, as a left-wing social democrat, is that especially as societies grow, we need institutions as mediators to achieve a lot of what we want to achieve as societies. And this whole go it alone thing, we won't be part of the WHO, we won't be part of NATO, we won't be part of this or that, and sort of isolating in that way is exactly the wrong direction, especially since, we sometimes have a map in our minds where the borders between countries are like the borders we see when we look at Google Maps. These are lines, and on one side of the line, it's one thing, on the other side of the line, it's another thing. The reality is that a lot of the modern problems humans are dealing with, including things like pollution, globalization, global economies, they don't respect those lines on the map. And the idea that we are just going to completely do everything by ourselves is completely unrealistic.
Which is crazy. We don't need you. He keeps saying that. I just wanted to see what they were going to say. But now you're once again trying to force them.
And so this is a bigger problem with MAGA politics as well, which is a lack of respect or even understanding of the value and importance of institutions.
With your visit to the White House yesterday, your meetings with President Trump, Secretary Rubio.
Now, this was a funny moment because he calls Trump, he says the word daddy. We're going to get into what he says.
Secretary Hegseth, of course, in many ways, diplomatic conversations must remain private in a certain extent in order to work. But what can you share with us from those conversations as we think about the future of the alliance?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as they would say in diplomatic circles, these conversations were frank and open, which is good.
Candid. They may have been candid.
They were candid, frank and open. But that's good because we are amongst friends here. I mean, the president, myself, we like each other. We are good friends for many years now. And I'd rather have the conversation on the table.
This conversation was where a grown man calling another grown man daddy is just crazy.
Instead of tiptoeing around it. And I sensed his disappointment about the fact that he felt that too many allies were not with him. And I explained to him yesterday, I said, hey, Mr. President, clearly the overwhelming majority of Europeans have done what the US asked of him and what was previously agreed in these circumstances. And yes, sometimes it takes a bit of time. But hey, guess what? We have coalitions in Europe. We have sometimes the political home front to take care of. So sometimes it takes a couple of days. But then we pulled together, and almost the whole of Europe did, for the US to project power on the world stage through its partners in Europe. And the US, NATO is there, of course, to protect the Europeans, but also to protect the United States. As Jonas Sture, the Norwegian Prime Minister, said, these huge nuclear submarines in Russia are not there to.
And I showed you guys, NATO was there for us during 9/11. I don't know what Donald Trump, where he was or what he was thinking when he said that. They have come through for the U.S.
Attack Norway. They are there to attack the United States. And it is thanks to the alliance that we are able to make sure that they are not able to get in a position to do that. So, and this is just an example where both the U.S. mainland and Europe stay stronger and safe because of the alliance. So it was a good conversation. It was open and candid. And I clearly felt his disappointment, which, again, to a certain extent, I understand.
And then Daddy has to sometimes use strong language to get stuff.
Do you still consider him Daddy after yesterday?
Well, on the Daddy thing, this is a language problem.
This is weird.
What happened is the following. I have to explain to you because it follows me a little bit. I can assure you. No, we had a sort of pre-summit meeting, the president and I, in June in The Hague, and he had been very angry that day with Iran and with Israel. This was in June last year, and in Dutch you would say, "Hey, the translation of your father is Daddy," and I said, "Hey, yeah, sometimes Daddy has to be angry." So I was not calling him my daddy, but saying, but of course, Daddy has also a special connotation, and I now have to live with this the rest of my life. And I own it, and the president owns it because he brought out T-shirts, he made a movie, Daddy is home, and he returned to the United States. This was so funny. And this is why I like him so much.
We have some news right now. Starting this December, there will be automatic registration for
Automatic registration and drafts is coming.
the United States military draft. It comes as Donald Trump this morning is saying that the U.S. military is, quote, ready for its next conquest after Iran.
It's Cuba. I told you guys he's gearing up for Cuba. He wants to take over.
Let's discuss. The National Defense Authorization Act, which was passed in December of 2025, required essentially making registration for the military draft automatic. And a new rule published over the past week would require that starting this year. Men between the ages of...
Oh, yes, please, and thank you, Diamond Gang. Can you guys please get me to 100 likes? I'm almost at 60. Please just click the like for me. Thank you.
18 and 25, well, they're already required to register for the selective service on their own. This will automate that process. But it comes at a time where the United States is at war. And while the United States hasn't had a military draft since...
Who have children out there? And are you okay with this decision? Like automatic registration. This is insane. This is insane.
Vietnam in 1973, the president of the United States is posting things like this, saying all U.S. ships, aircraft, military personnel, and any other weaponry will remain in and around Iran until a real agreement is met and complied with. Quote, in the meantime, our great military is loading up and resting.
Which means those that's over there will not be home anytime soon. And I told you guys that. He was screaming 4 to 6 weeks, like it was just going to be over. No, it's far from over.
Looking forward actually to its next conquest. I'll have more updates for you soon. Follow for more.
I do urge my Republican colleagues to recognize that
Now,
what the president is doing is...
Diamond Gang, I'm going to show you guys how they stopped Congress. They shut it down. I'm telling you, I told you guys last night, they're not going to let this go. They meant what they said.
Is batshit crazy. You cannot threaten to eradicate an entire civilization and say never to be brought back again. And let's think about what that means. There's really only one weapon that would do that. That would be a nuclear weapon. And that's why Senator Markey and I have repeatedly introduced legislation that would prohibit the president from launching a premeditated nuclear first strike without approval of Congress. And so we'd be deeply concerned about the state of mind of our current president. And we need Republicans to recognize reality and join with Democrats to vote yes on the upcoming war powers resolution.
Diamond Gang, they was on their way. They were on their way. Please and thank you. Hit the like, hit the like.
Resolution vote.
Pursuant to Clause 13 of Rule 1, the House stays adjourned until 2:30 p.m.
It says Republicans shut down Congress to prevent the Democrats from introducing bill restraining Trump's war powers. So they wanted to strip him, and they shut it down to stop it from happening. Look, take a look.
That would prohibit the president from launching a premeditated nuclear first strike without approval of Congress. And so we'd be deeply concerned about the state of mind of our current president. And we need Republicans to recognize reality and join with Democrats to vote yes on the upcoming war powers resolution vote.
Pursuant to Clause 13 of Rule 1, the House stays adjourned until 2:30 p.m. on Monday, April 13th, 2026.
He ran out of there. He ran out of there after he banged that gavel. He put a stop to that. They was in there to shut down they tried to restrain Trump's war powers, and they shut Congress down.
We have breaking news at this hour. House Republicans have blocked an attempt by Democrats to get a vote on the war powers resolution to rein in the president's ability to conduct wartime activities in Iran and elsewhere. So here's what happened. There's a pro forma session inside the House of Representatives right now. Some members showed up, Democrats, to try to get unanimous consent to pass.
But I'm going to tell you guys this. The Democrats are flipping seats. So it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
A war powers resolution to stop Trump from continuing the war. Well, the Republican presiding over the House today is Chris Smith from New Jersey. He gavelled out the House, preventing and not recognizing the Democrats on the House floor who wanted recognition. He quickly gavelled out and ran away to avoid getting any type of vote on the war powers resolution. So now not only are they preventing the vote from happening, they just don't want their members to have to go on record and vote against it. We'll have
This is insane.
more updates for you soon. As always, so spread the word. Subscribe to my Substack, link in bio to support my work. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. I'll have another update for you soon. We have some news right now. The Pope has rejected any
Listen, they threatened the Pope. They threatened him. Take a listen.
effort by Donald Trump and JD Vance to come to the United States of America for America's 250th anniversary this summer. According to letters from Leo, this happened after the United States Pentagon threatened the Pope and the Vatican, saying, hey, we have a military, we can do whatever.
What the hell is going on with our government? Real talk. This is a disgrace. How does the Pentagon threaten the Pope?
We want, the Catholic Church better get on board. But that's not all. We're learning today from Letters from Leo, a blog that is closely connected to the Vatican, that David Axelrod visited with the Pope. Now, you may not know who that is. That is a chief strategist for President Obama, former chief strategist for President Obama, really was an architect behind President Obama's successful campaigns. There are now conversations behind the scenes, possibly, to get a meeting between President Obama and Pope Leo. Trump hasn't spoken to the American-born Pope. Obama may beat him to it. Well, that'll enrage Trump even more. So in any event, I'll have more updates for you soon. Maybe the Pentagon shouldn't be threatening the Pope, but here we are. Follow along for all the news you need to know about.
All right, we're going to get to my second video while I'm pulling that up. Can you guys please hit the like for your girl? Get me to 100 likes.
He is sure to be livid with it.
I am now at 64 likes. Can you please get me to 100 likes, Diamond Gang? I will not be doing vertical soon. I will be strictly StreamYard. If you like the channel, if you like what you see, please subscribe. All right, let's go, Diamond Gang. We're going to watch NATO stand up to Trump.
He is sure to be livid with Netanyahu for misleading him. Netanyahu swindled him in May of 2018 to unilaterally leave the JCPOA by telling.
Did y'all hear that? Let me take it back. And then NATO's after this. I'm showing you guys how BB just keep getting over on Trump. He got something on him.
He is sure to be livid with Netanyahu for misleading him. Netanyahu swindled him in May of 2018 to unilaterally leave the JCPOA by telling him that the Iranians, if you leave the agreement, the Iranians will come begging for a better agreement. And if you impose crippling sanctions, quote unquote, they will do whatever you want. Well, that hasn't happened. In fact,
I told y'all, I've been telling you guys, he got in his head and he talked them into this. He's known to lie. He played Trump like a fool.
By June 2019, the Iranians were back enriching uranium. Fast forward June 2025. Netanyahu sells Trump on this. If we both bomb Iran, we will set it back decades. 12 days, that's exactly what happened, after which Trump stands up, fists in the air, and boasting that we, quote unquote, obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. And Netanyahu, same show in Israel, says we set them back decades. 9 months later, Anand, they have their 11 weeks away or 2 weeks away.
Diamond Gang. For the ones that repeat subscribers, for the people to just come in on a regular. Have I lied to you? I have not. I have not.
From 11 bombs or 11 weeks away from 2 bombs, it doesn't even matter. And they have thousands of missiles that they somehow manufactured since June. So either they were lying in June, these two gentlemen, or they're not telling us the truth right now.
The United States of America, the so-called leader.
Now we're going to get into NATO and how they stood up to them. They stood side by side and they told Trump, no, 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 and no.
Of the free world just got locked out of Europe's airspace. France said no, Italy said no, Spain said no, Switzerland said no. In the span of 48 hours, 4 major Western nations looked at the United States of America and said, we don't want any part of what you're doing. You're on your own, Donald.
Let's go, Diamond Gang. I got 72 likes. Get me to 100 likes, please, and thank you. I got over 350 people in the room. Please get me to 100 likes. I love when I say that. People disappear. Please and thank you. The likes are free.
Let that satisfaction sink in for a second. The country that built NATO, the country that has projected military power across the globe for 7 decades, just got told by its own allies that it can't fly its planes over their countries. That is not a minor diplomatic spat. That is not a little disagreement between friends. That is the sound of the post-World.
Thank you to the ones that just hit the like. We got 81 likes. I need 19 more. I love y'all, Diamond Gang.
War II international order cracking in half right in front of our eyes. And I need you to understand something before we go any further here. This didn't happen because these countries suddenly hate America. This didn't happen because the French woke up one morning and decided they wanted to pick a fight. This happened because Donald Trump, the man sitting in the Oval Office, has spent his time in power systematically destroying every single relationship the United States has built over.
Listen, Diamond Gang, when I get up first thing in the morning and I'm watching this, I am downloading clip after clip after clip. And I put these together to tell the story that I want to convey to my audience. Whether you are against what I'm saying, my chat is for any and everybody. All opinions will be respected, even if it's opposing to mine's. You have the freedom to say what you want. You just can't be disrespectful. I'm not on here begging for no cash apps. I don't beg for no super chats, and I don't beg for no super stickers. But for my time and my effort and my energy, all I'm asking for is a like. It is free. Just to keep me in the algorithm. For some reason, I must be liked if I'm getting 72,000 views a live stream. That's it. That's all. That's all I'm asking for. Thank you.
Generations. He threatened NATO. He attacked allies. He cozied up to dictators. he launched a war in Iran without consulting anyone. And now he's shocked that nobody wants to help him. I mean, how dumb do you have to be? Look, let's walk through this piece by piece, because the details here are staggering when you actually lay them all out on the table. So here's what happened. France and Italy officially joined Spain and Switzerland in denying the United States any military support or airspace for Trump's war in Iran. And it's not just the US that got shut out. Israel wanted to use French airspace to transport American weapons that were going to be used in the Iran conflict. And France said, absolutely.
I need y'all to understand how powerful that picture is underneath, with them all joined together, damn near hand in hand. That picture alone is a strong statement. They're not putting up with his bullshit.
Not. France flat out refused. And Italy told the United States that if they want to use Italian military infrastructure for purposes outside of existing agreements, they need special.
They're saying you don't get to insult me, raise my tariffs, bully me, and talk bad to me and think that I'm going to help you. You didn't consult us before, and that is not what we are here for.
Permission. And guess what? Trump's Iran war doesn't fall under any existing agreement. So the answer from Italy was no. You don't get to use our country as a pit stop for your unauthorized military adventure. Now think about that for a second. These are NATO allies. These are countries that have stood shoulder to shoulder with the United States through the Cold War, through the Balkans, through Afghanistan, through countless military operations.
Through 9/11. They was there for us.
Over decades. And in the span of a few months, Donald Trump has managed to alienate them so completely, so thoroughly, that they won't even let American planes fly over their territory.
This is not good. This is not good.
It's not just a policy disagreement. That's a full-blown divorce. And what was Trump's response to all of this? Did he reflect? Did he pause and think, maybe I should have talked to my allies before launching a major military operation in the Middle East? No, of course not. This is Donald Trump we're talking about. He went on the attack. He accused France of blocking military equipment. He attacked France and the United Kingdom throughout the day. He basically threw a tantrum like a child who got told he can't have dessert and then flipped the table over. And then, and this is the part that should make every American sit up straight in their chair, Trump said the United States should consider withdrawing from NATO. Let me say that again so it really lands. The President of the United States suggested that America...
He's hurting us when he does shit like this. He's hurting us.
...should pull out of the military alliance that has been the backbone of Western security since 1949. An alliance that was specifically created to prevent the kind of catastrophic global conflicts that killed tens of millions of people in the first half of the 20th century. Trump wants to throw that in the garbage because France wouldn't let his planes fly over their country for a war he started without asking anyone. And it wasn't just Trump. Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, went on Fox News and echoed the exact same thing. And I want to break down what Rubio said because the framing he used is so dishonest.
I got this clip for a reason. I've been screaming it since I've been covering this war about this.
So manipulative that it deserves to be pulled apart word by word. Rubio said, and I'm paraphrasing the substance here, that he used to be one of the strongest defenders of NATO in the Senate because he saw value in it. He said NATO wasn't just about defending Europe, it was about having military bases in Europe that allowed the US to project power around the world. But now, he said, if NATO means we can't use those bases when we need them, then what's the point? Then it's a one-way street. Then we're just there to defend Europe, but when we need help, they say no. Here's the reality of what Rubio just did there. He reframed the entire situation to make it sound like America is the victim. Like
that part. That's what narcissists do. That is what a narcissist will do.
America has been this generous benefactor, just giving and giving and giving to ungrateful Europeans who won't return the favor. But that is a complete distortion of what's actually happening. The reason these countries are refusing to cooperate isn't because they don't value the alliance. It's because Donald Trump launched an unlawful war, a war that none of these countries were consulted about, a war that none of them agreed to, a war that violates international norms. And then he showed up at their door demanding they participate. That's not how alliances work. That's not how partnerships work. You don't ignore your partners, go rogue, start a fire, and then get mad when they won't help you put it out. And let's talk about what Rubio said regarding the Strait of Hormuz, because this was equally disturbing. Rubio basically said, yeah, the Strait of Hormuz is international waters, and what Iran is doing there is illegal.
Diamond Gang, thanks. I'm past 100 likes. Let's go. I'm pushing it to 150, Diamond Gang.
Under maritime law. But then he said, it's not really America's problem. The US doesn't get much energy through the strait. It's Europe's problem. It's Asia's problem. Let them deal with it.
It wasn't a problem until he created that problem for them. You understand?
Not a single thing we've done has put an American troop in more of a harm's way.
Now to a CBS News exclusive with a soldier who survived the deadliest Iranian attack on Americans since the war began. It happened at a command post in Kuwait on the very first day of the war. 6 people died.
Diamond Gang, I thought I deleted this clip. I got it. It's in this part 2. It's in this part 2. They lied about the people that was injured and about the fatalities.
At that time, and that soldier spoke to our own Jonah Kaplan. He says that Army leadership knew the attack was possible, but failed to prepare for it.
For me, I think telling the truth is important.
His unit's leadership ordered them to move to the post.
This is a U.S. soldier, y'all, that was hurt in Iran. Says leadership could have done more. They put them out there like sitting fucking ducks. Y'all cool with this? I want to know. If you guys are cool with what is going on with this illegal war, a war of choice, put a 1 in the chat. I need y'all to be honest. If you're not okay with this, put a 2 in the chat. That's somebody's son. That's somebody's nephew. That's somebody's grandson. And they keep coming to us, telling us lies. Who is okay with that? I see a lot of 2s and a couple of 1s. So you cool. Let me ask you something. The ones that's cool with it, what age bracket are you in? And why are you on the internet? Why are you not enlisting? For the ones that think it's okay, go enlist. Go and help. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Ahead of the war, and he says they did that despite intelligence showing it was on a list of potential Iranian drone targets. Were these deaths prevented?
So it was on the list for potential Iranian drone targets. So you saying you're cool with them putting those soldiers at risk? You cool with that?
In my opinion, absolutely yes.
What fortifications existed there?
I mean, I would put it in the none category from a drone defense capability.
None. There were no fortifications.
None.
Peace talks still on schedule for Saturday among the U.S., Iran, and Israel. Vice President Vance preparing to head to that region tonight. Now, meantime, the fragile ceasefire is holding, but relatively few ships.
I'm sorry, I got to stop and laugh. Somebody said, nah, I pay taxes. Somebody said I wouldn't qualify anyway. Well, I got it. Well, I can't with y'all. Oh, God. Okay, let's go, Diamond Gang, because we got to get to the part with Melania and the Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, my God.
Are moving through that vital shipping waterway, the Strait of Hormuz. Lebanon was not included in the ceasefire, and
y'all won't even allow me to be serious. Somebody got to say something in the chat. Y'all can't even let me be serious and passionate about what I believe in.
Israel keeping up its attacks on Beirut. A promising development, though, today. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu saying that he has authorized direct negotiations with Lebanon as soon as possible, aimed at disarming Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in that area. And
you said I can't do not one push-up. I'm ex-military, so I feel the ways. I do it.
of course, establishing relations between the Middle East neighbors. Now, the prospect of talks does appear to bolster this tentative ceasefire that we're talking about to end the Iran war. President Trump saying today that he is, quote, very optimistic about the prospects of reaching a peace deal, saying that Iranian leaders are more amenable in private conversations than in their public statements. NATO Secretary saying today that the alliance is working with the U.S. to provide assets to keep.
I'm just saying, I don't like liars, you know. Like I said this the past 2 lives. If you lie, you'll steal. And if you steal, you'll KILL. I've been told that since I was a kid.
The Strait of Hormuz open.
It has always been a long-standing position of NATO that Iran should not get its hands on a nuclear capability, but also not on a ballistic missile capability. And the fact
there has been no transparency when it comes to this war. None. All lies.
That under U.S. leadership, those capabilities have been severely degraded is good news. Existential news for Israel, existential news for the Middle East, but also for Europe and for the whole world.
Well, for now, the Pentagon is not withdrawing any troops from the Middle East. 50,000 service members and hundreds of warships.
50,000 service members are over there. And I told you guys, the Iranians have 920,000 military. Okay. Some, are reserved, but it's 920,000.
And planes remain on standby. Those peace talks, as we said, slated for Saturday.
Breaking news. Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to have peace talks with Nawaf Salam, the prime minister of Lebanon, after Salam reached out to him to discuss peace negotiations. Netanyahu says this meeting will discuss peace and the disarmament of Hezbollah. But last week, Israel conceded that they can't disarm Hezbollah. So I want to know what will be different. My only thought is this. They're getting together to discuss getting the Lebanese army and the IDF to try to work together to fight Hezbollah. They will arm the Lebanese forces as well. I have been saying this for the past week. Israel wants a civil war in Lebanon. Now they're going to try this. And it might work. But here's the problem.
Let me ask you this. Those that's in the chat, do you feel that Israel is going to continue to, what is this? What's the word I want to use? To try to infiltrate this ceasefire? Do you think that they're going to do something that's going to just mess it up? Or do you think that they will act? You said, yes, I do too. It is what it is. I told you guys earlier, I talked to 2 Middle Eastern men today, and I said, can I ask you a question? And I did, and I asked them about everything. And he said, I don't like Iran. And I said, I know why you don't, and I understand. I said, how do you feel about Bibi? And he was like, he's a piece of shit, always has been. It blew my mind. But he said it. He said he was a piece of shit.
I foresee in all this. The Lebanese army are 60% Shiite. These guys are not turning on their Shiite brothers. It's not happening. So that leaves only 40% of the army to fight against Hezbollah. That doesn't sound good. This sounds to me like Netanyahu is going to work out a deal to put boots on the ground in Beirut with permission from the Lebanese government. So they will get permission from the Lebanese government to occupy Beirut. That's my assessment. I hope I'm wrong. We'll find out next week when this meeting takes place. But if I'm right, the Lebanese government is trading Lebanese citizens who live and die for Lebanon for Israel to occupy Lebanon. If I'm right, this is devastating news. I can't believe the people running Lebanon think this is better than what we have now. Once Israel is in, will they leave? I highly doubt it. We'll find out more next week.
Yeah, I doubt it too. I do.
Next week, what's going on? Stay tuned.
Major news out of Iran as they are saying that the Strait of Hormuz is open to all ships to pass through as long as they coordinate with Tehran. And at the same time, the new supreme leader is vowing to avenge his father's death as this fragile ceasefire seems to be holding for right now. Now, Trump.
And I'm going to say this again. I was online all the way up until the time it was time for me to come on. I haven't seen any changes.
Trump is saying if Iran does not make a deal, it is going to be extremely painful for Iran. So, guys, keep checking back for updates. This situation is developing literally out.
They got to stop with these threats.
Hour by hour, and I'll see you back here for the 411.
I can tell you that until now, the Strait of Hormuz is open. Of course, there are technical restrictions because of the war zone and because of many arrangements that Iran did during the war, during this aggression against Iran. So there are some technical restraints, and this is why that all the ships that they
So Diamond Gang, the Straits is open.
would like to pass through the Strait of Hormuz, they have to communicate with our army and our military contact points there because of the limitations in this strait. And this strait is a very narrow strait.
When you say about technical difficulties and restraints, I'm assuming you're referring to mines within the Strait of Hormuz.
Including that. There are others, arrangements that Iran made for the time of war. And
yeah, it's very dangerous. They have mines in the strait, a lot of them.
They are still in place, so we have maps, we have everything that, we have to be careful that, the safe passage of tankers and vessels and well-being of crews are actually met during this passage.
And would you allow American vessels through?
There is no difference, except for...
That is very dangerous. And I do have a video showing you guys as far as the mines and where they may be, okay? That's coming up.
For hostile behavior of any kind, presumably, but we think that there is no sign of that for now. So everyone can pass this as usual passage. Of course, I said that within the restrictions that we do have. So whoever communicate, we provide safe.
Come on, Diamond Gang. I'm at 127. Get me to 150, please.
Passage through safe channels that we do have in the Strait of Hormuz.
This is breaking news. The IRGC now says the Strait of Hormuz may have been mined, and they're giving ships specific directions to take in order to avoid any danger. Is there a new...
Okay, this is going to show us where the mines can possibly be, okay? I made sure I got this clip.
New danger zone in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Navy says there is in this new map, and the price of oil has surged back up. Take a look at that big gray circle. In bold black, that Persian text translates to danger zone. One suggestion, one fear that's being discussed is that Iran's Navy has mined this swath of the strait, which at its narrowest point is only about 21 miles wide, with Iran to the north and Oman to the south. Iran also appears to be telling ships where they should sail. Those are the arrows at the top. Ships sailing out of Hormuz, west to east, would need to sail south of Larak Island. And remember, Larak Island is a so-called toll booth that Iran would very likely use to try to charge any...
That part I don't like. I do not like that. That is against international law.
Or all vessels using the strait in the future. Ships sailing in would need to sail north of Larak Island, and all of them would then avoid that danger zone. For now, though, only a couple of ships transited through the strait in the first day after the U.S. and Iran announced that ceasefire. That information is coming from Lloyd's List, which is the maritime intelligence firm. Of those ships had links, either past or present, to Iran. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, though, said reports of the Strait of Hormuz being closed are quote-unquote false, and what Iranian media are reporting is not what Iranian officials are telling the U.S. privately.
So that is how dangerous it is.
The Melania Trump press conference.
All right, y'all ready? Because this is it. I'm going to end my live stream with Melania Trump. Diamond Gang, get ready. Something big is getting ready to come forward. Let's get into it.
Conference demanding congressional action on Epstein makes zero sense. And let me talk about it from a journalistic, but also from a legal perspective. From a journalistic perspective, the Trump administration spent months literally starting a war in Iran, kidnapping a leader in Venezuela, all not to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. And now in the height of the war, she comes out and makes a statement. A couple things could be happening. Number one, getting ahead of a big story coming out. Or number two, she's breaking from her husband. And number three, she could just be so upset that people are talking about her connection to Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein that she just had enough.
Diamond Gang, I don't think it's that. They've been saying this since the files came out. That's not what it is.
From a legal perspective, though, this makes even less sense. First, Melania admits in her statement that more people were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That is a complete break from Attorney General Todd Blanche and the Trump Justice Department. So she's going against the Trump DOJ. Second, Congress is not responsible to interview survivors. The DOJ is, the FBI is, and they haven't released the FBI interviews of these survivors. And putting survivors under oath in front of Congress, where members of Congress are already skeptical of their stories, that's not going to help anyone. And not just that, several survivors actually have settlements with the Epstein estate. And as part of those settlements, it is likely that they were signed some type of NDA where they couldn't disclose a number of things. And so it's setting many survivors up to fail. And that begs the question, who's actually behind this?
Well, it's not Trump because he's furious right now. He's so mad. He's crashing the hell out, and the Republicans are so upset that she did this and didn't say a word. For her not to say a word to Trump about doing this, something's going on.
Is it Melania breaking from Trump? Or is this Trump using Melania to get the heat off of him? Nothing makes sense about this, and you have to be skeptical. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. I'm going to work around the clock to get real answers. Follow for more.
Trump is having a complete and total crash out meltdown on Truth Social. And I love it because it's showing the world how completely unhinged he is and showing his cabinet and Congress why he needs to be removed. He started by lashing out against Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, his MAGA buddies, calling them low IQ and saying they aren't really MAGA. He is MAGA. Then he lashed out at the Wall Street Journal, who he calls one of the worst and most inaccurate editorial boards in the world. And he's mad at them because they said he declared victory in Iran prematurely. Then he followed with this one saying there are reports that Iran is charging fees to tankers going through the Hormuz Strait. They better not be, and if they are...
He knew that. He knew that. Diamond Gang, we're going to get into Melania's speech.
It better stop now. Guys, this could just be the dementia. He forgot. Everyone's known about this. They've been saying that Iran is going to charge $2 million per tanker, and $1 million is going to go to Iran.
They've been doing this for 2 weeks now. What is he talking about?
And another $1 million is going to go to the Omanis. Guys, this is not new news, but he's acting like it is. This comes after a new poll was released today by Lake Research Partners and Free Speech for People, shows that 52% of registered American voters support impeaching Donald Trump immediately. Let me know if you think it's time to impeach the president.
We have some big news right now. Following Melania Trump's Epstein statement, Donald Trump has been on a complete meltdown, truly one of the biggest we've seen in recent history. And maybe this is why MS Now is now reporting that Trump did not know anything about Melania Trump's statement prior to her on-camera appearance. He said that he was in a meeting regarding the war, couldn't speak further, said she didn't know Epstein, and then hung up. And so now he's lashing out. He's lashing out at Iran, saying there are reports that Iran is charging fees to tankers going through the Hormuz Strait. They better not be, and if they are, they better stop now. Mind you, this was part of the deal that he executed.
That is insane. That's insane.
So he needs to go back and read his own deal, but he's lashing out. Then he's saying the Wall Street Journal is one of the most inaccurate editorial boards in the world, saying that he declared premature victory in Iran, even though he has declared victory in Iran on at least 9 different occasions, and then continue to attack the Wall Street Journal. He's gone after MAGA influencers as well. I mean, this is like full-blown crash out we're seeing right now from the President of the United States. I'll have more updates for you very soon. Spread the word, follow along for all the news you need to know about.
The lies linked.
All right, y'all. Y'all ready? Come on, let me get 150 likes. Come on, I'm at 139, Diamond Gang. Let's get into what Melania had to say about Epstein. Although I don't care. I think Trump met her through Epstein, but let's go.
Linking me with the disgraceful Jeffrey Epstein need to end today. The individuals lying about me are devoid of ethical standards, humility, and respect. I do not object to their ignorance, but rather I reject their mean-spirited attempts to defame my reputation. I never been friends with Epstein. Donald and I were invited to the same parties as Epstein from time to time.
Hold up. Hold the hell up, Diamond Gang. So she was invited to their parties from time to time. You didn't know them and you had no type of relationship with them, but you just kept getting invited and y'all just kept showing up and showing out. They weren't even married then. Oh, yeah.
It's overlapping in social circles is common in New York City and Palm Beach. To be clear, I never had a relationship with Epstein or his accomplice, Maxwell.
We seen you smiling, happy in pictures and partying with these people. What is she talking about?
My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence.
Okay, so you do casual respondence through via email with a stranger? Who does that? Who does that? This was the worst idea ever. But let's go. Hit the like.
My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note.
Diamond Gang, when I get emails from strangers, I delete that shit. I don't answer it.
I am not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at a New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in detail in my book, Melania. The first time I crossed paths with Epstein.
Diamond Gang, put a 1 in the chat if you believe this. Put a 2 in the chat if you think she's a goddamn lie. Please and thank you. I got to see this. I got to see. 1 if you believe her, 2 if you believe it's a damn lie. Let's go.
Was in the year 2000 at an event Donald and I attended together.
Whoa.
At the time, I had never met Epstein and had no knowledge.
My people said she a goddamn lie. Whoa, overwhelming. Thank you guys for participating. This is why he was crashing out, y'all. I'm getting sleepy. Let's go.
Of his criminal undertakings. Numerous fake.
I see you. You said a motherfucking lie. Is that me now?
Images and statements about Epstein and me have been.
No, I don't drink. I don't drink alcohol at all. I do nothing. I'm a square.
Calculating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe.
It's after 1 a.m. here in Pennsylvania. I'm just tired. I get up very early.
These images and stories are completely false. I'm not a witness or a named witness in connection with any of Epstein's crimes. My name has never appeared in court documents.
Hold up, Diamond Gang. Who says she was involved in crimes? This is what I'm saying. She's telling on herself. What is she talking about? Nobody ever said that she was a part of any goddamn crimes that I know of. This is insane.
Depositions, victim statements, or FBI interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity. I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island.
Listen, Diamond Gang, I try to get these clips and I've watched majority of them, but I had to hurry up. I did not watch this one. I am shocked.
I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking, abuse of minors, and other repulsive behavior.
Here's the thing, Diamond Gang. They never said her, but they said his previous wife, Ivanka, was really good friends with Ghislaine, and they used to go and recruit young girls. They never said her. This is insane. She telling on herself.
The false smears about me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financially and climb politically, must stop.
Nobody is using her. Now this is crazy. She said her good name and to climb politically, and no, who's using her name for that? Like, who is she? This is insane, y'all. She's thinking a little too highly of herself. I'm sorry.
My attorneys and I have fought this
Somebody said deport her.
and baseless lies with success, and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation.
We have some big news right now. Moments after Melania Trump made a statement about Jeffrey Epstein and brought that back up into the news, Donald Trump just went on a massive tirade. I'm not going to read you all of this. This could have been an email. But this is on his Truth Social post. He's attacking Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, staple figures in his MAGA coalition. He is...
Diamond Gang, thanks for the likes. I'm at 171. If y'all could get me to 200 for the night, I would appreciate it. Thank you guys so much.
Launching attacks on. I want to point one attack out where he says that Brigitte Macron, the First Lady of France, is prettier than Candace Owens. That's an attack he used. He attacked Alex Jones for the Sandy Hook defamation lawsuit that he faced. He attacked all of them, calling them nut jobs, calling them troublemakers, saying that anything for free. And
how are they troublemakers? You're mad because she got on there talking about Epstein, something that you want to go away, and you take it out on them. This is so childish.
Cheap publicity, then attack the media for platforming them. This is what the president of the United States is ranting on, complete meltdown on Truth Social minutes after Melania Trump went public about Jeffrey Epstein. Spread the word, follow along for more.
Donald Trump just put out this huge post on social media attacking MAGA figures like Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, and more. He put out like an essay, so we can't read the whole thing, but it says, I know why Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Candace Owens, and Alex Jones have all been fighting me for years, especially by the fact that they think it is wonderful for Iran, the #1 state sponsor of terrorism, to have a nuclear weapon because they have one thing in common. Low IQs. They're stupid people. They know it. Their families know it. And everyone else knows it too. Look at their past.
This is our president, gang. This is our president.
Look at their record. They don't have what it takes and never did. They've all been thrown off television, lost their shows, and aren't even invited on TV because nobody cares about them. They're nut jobs, troublemakers, and will say anything necessary for some free, cheap publicity. He called Megyn Kelly nasty. He said that Candace Owens is crazy for accusing the highly respected First Lady of France of being a man. He actually said the First Lady of France is more beautiful than Candace Owens. He concluded by saying they're not MAGA, they're losers just trying to latch on to MAGA. As president, I could get them on my side anytime I want to, but when they call, I don't return their calls because I'm too busy on world and country.
He cared too much. He cared way too much about the wrong shit. Let's go, Diamond Gang.
Affairs after a few times they go nasty like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and then he added more, but a essay on social media. The MAGA civil war is in full effect. I mean, Donald Trump is going at them. They are going at Donald Trump. It is remarkable to watch happen, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
This came out of left field for us here covering the White House. The press shop did not give us any insight into what this announcement would be about. That's typical. Oftentimes the First Lady doesn't share a lot of details with the...
It says MAGA is furious because it makes Trump look guilty that Melania did this. And it does. She knows something, and something is coming. I guarantee it.
White House communications shop that covers the president on what her announcements might be. We had no heads up on this. We're not getting any information from them now, including whether or not the president was aware she would be making this statement. It's unclear to us if she is reacting to something or that's already happened, already come out, or getting ahead of a story that might be about to drop. We don't really know. And the content of what she's calling for, this congressional hearing to allow the victims to, openly testify about what they witnessed, is new, and it will certainly.
Yeah, she's for the survivors. She wants them to be able to have their day. So this is not looking good. I don't know what's going on. For her not to consult Donald or tell Donald that she was doing this, she knew if she would have, he would have told her no. I appreciate y'all. I'm at 188. Let me get to 200, y'all, please, before the night's over.
Certainly breathe new life into this story that has, in large part, not been, at the top of the news cycle lately. The attention here has been on other matters. So this brings the sort of public interest back to the Epstein story.
In case y'all don't know, this is what's called a prebuttal. Melania Trump just held the weirdest press conference that was entirely about her relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, denying any sort of association or friendship with him. And in the press conference, she specifically referenced a friendly email that she sent to Ghislaine Maxwell that was released as part of the Epstein files, which came out weeks ago. So why is she holding the press conference today? As somebody who's worked in political communications for more than 15 years, I can tell you that these kinds of press conferences only come when a major bombshell story is about to drop on that exact topic.
Diamond Gang, who thinks that there's going to be a major bombshell that's going to drop? Put a 1 in the chat if you think that there's something coming. If you think it's just about nothing and she's tired of people talking about her, put a 2 in the chat. Something's coming. That's what I believe.
It's either that or this is the worst possible distraction from the war in Iran that you could possibly come up with. But stay tuned to the news.
How are things going for the Trump administration right now, Antonia? Things are going so well that a war that has bumped the Epstein investigation to the back page for the last 5 weeks is going so badly that the First Lady of the United States makes an unscheduled, impromptu statement about the Epstein investigations that the administration was so desperate to get out of the headlines, to get back in the headlines during an international armed conflict where 48 hours ago, the president of the United States, her husband, was threatening the destruction of a whole civilization. So we are 48 hours separated between threatening war crime.
Okay, so I see some 1s. I see a bunch of 1s. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. I see just a couple of 2s, more 1s than anything. So you got, something is coming. I'm gonna keep my eye on it. I'm supposed to take a break. I wasn't even supposed to come on tonight. Now it's becoming an obsession for me. And because I'm looking at this stuff consistently, it's always on my feed.
And distracting from the threatening of war crimes and a colossal disaster of our own creation in the Middle East. And now we are burying a statement by the First Lady about an investigation that the Department of Justice has so bungled that Pam Bondi, who 1 week ago was the Attorney General of the United States.
Pam says she's going on a run. She's not testifying. She said, nah, find me.
And who 1 week from now should be testifying before the House Oversight Committee, will not be testifying. And the argument that the administration is advancing there is, well, she's no longer the Attorney General.
This kind of press conference that the First Lady just had was pretty stunning for a variety of reasons.
Yes, I just hit 200 likes. I appreciate you. Shouts out Diamond Gang. Please, y'all, subscribe to this channel.
First is she is publicly calling for a hearing with survivors that we have been asking for months and have been told every time that it wasn't possible. Chairman Comer has not scheduled it. This is the same administration that has called this investigation a hoax. I mean, just a day ago, the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche, said that the DOJ was not moving forward on any part of the Epstein investigation. This has been an investigation the White House has pushed aside. There have been efforts by
It may just be guilt. She may be living with some deep, dark secrets, and she's tired of it.
Survivors to meet with the White House, to meet with the DOJ. And so for the First Lady to come out and to essentially say that she is calling on this public hearing for survivors and to kind of put herself in the center of the story is something that we certainly were not expecting today, but we certainly welcome and agree with her call to.
They're going to eat that up. They are going to eat that up. She said, he said, we welcome. Yeah, they're going to eat it up. This is all they're going to be talking about tomorrow.
Hear directly from the survivors, and this pushes back against all efforts the White House has been making and really distances herself from the president and his public statements in trying to end this investigation and essentially calling it a hoax.
The investigation into Jeffrey Epstein, the fight to release the Epstein files, and even the effort to get justice for those survivors just took a wild turn.
I call on Congress to provide the women.
Now, Diamond Gang, this is the last of the last, and I like how she, her perspective and how she looked at this whole Epstein thing altogether. Let's go.
Who have been victimized by Epstein, with a public hearing specifically centered around the survivors. Give these victims their opportunity to testify under oath in front of Congress with the power of sworn testimony. Each and every woman should have her day to tell her story in public if she wishes, and then her testimony should be permanently entered into the congressional record. Then, and only then, we will have the truth.
That was obviously First Lady Melania Trump just a short time ago from the White House, calling on Republicans who control.
Listen, Diamond Gang, I'm kind of excited. I haven't done an Epstein update in over a month. I'm thinking that will be my next live stream. It will not be about this war. It will be an Epstein update. So please subscribe to the channel. Keep your notifications on.
Congress to give the Epstein survivors a congressional public hearing so they can openly tell their stories under oath. Now, what's so striking about this is the First Lady's comments are in direct contrast to what the Trump administration and her husband and the Republican-controlled Congress have been doing. And interestingly enough, this announcement from the First Lady comes less than a week after Pam Bondi was fired from her job as Attorney General, and just one day.
Listen, they're going to look at her as a hero for this. You watch.
After the Trump Department of Justice announced that Bondi would not testify about her handling or mishandling of the Epstein files. And the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee tasked with handling all this Epstein stuff has openly talked about how he doesn't think it's necessary that Pam Bondi testify. Of course, the Department of Justice, which is under the full control of Melania's husband, President Donald Trump, to this day still has only released half of the actual Epstein files and have redacted names that probably should be public, which is in direct violation of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. On top of that, Epstein survivors have been saying publicly for months that the Trump DOJ has not even contacted them. Now, it is unclear why the First Lady decided to make this statement today, but it's clear she's upset about several things. One is that she disputes this narrative that Epstein introduced her to her now husband.
She could have been debunked this. She could have been. Something is up with this.
I'm not Epstein's victim. Epstein did not introduce me to Donald Trump. I met my husband by chance at the New York City party in 1998. This initial encounter with my husband is documented in a detail in my book, Melania.
The problem is this document exists. It is a 302 form in the Epstein file. So 302 form.
Let's get into it, Diamond Gang. Hit the link. Hit the link. Hit the like.
Is a form filled out by the FBI who conducts a witness interview. And in this case, it is with a person whose name is redacted. So we assume that this person is a victim. And this person in this 302 form says she was a model who was working for Epstein. And on page 2, this person says Epstein introduced Melania Trump to Donald Trump. Now,
did y'all hear that? So in the Epstein files, it said that's the way it happened. And I just told you guys, that's what I believe.
It's unclear how this person knew that or whether that is actually accurate or just a recollection. We just don't know. But the fact is, this document exists. The First Lady also appears to be upset that she is being linked to Epstein through images and stories, especially online.
Numerous fake images and statements.
Those images are not fake.
About Epstein and me have been circulating on social media for years now. Be cautious about what you believe.
Now, let me stop it. Do I believe that they have made AI-generated photos? Yes. But them at those parties? No. Those are real.
Images and stories are completely false. My name has never appeared in court documents, depositions, victim statements, or FBI in interviews surrounding the Epstein matter. I have never had any knowledge of Epstein abuse of his victims. I was never involved in any capacity.
I find that very hard to believe. If she was amongst that circle and she was invited to all the, all those parties, I find that hard to believe.
I was not a participant, was never on Epstein's plane, and never visited his private island. I have never been legally accused or convinced of a crime in connection with Epstein's sex trafficking.
And if she thinks by making this statement that it's going to save her, it's not.
Abuse of minors and other repulsive behavior.
The First Lady even addressed this email, which is also in the Epstein files, between herself and Epstein co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell.
My email reply to Maxwell cannot be categorized as anything more than casual correspondence. My polite reply to her email doesn't amount to anything more than a trivial note.
Mrs. Trump also issued a warning to anyone who publicly tries to tie her to Jeffrey Epstein.
The false smears about
She need to stop that.
Me from mean-spirited and politically motivated individuals and entities looking to cause damage to my good name, to gain financial.
She said damage to her good name. I'm just blown away. Like, what?
Financially and climb politically must stop. My attorneys and I have fought these unfounded and baseless lies with success and will continue to maintain my sound reputation without hesitation.
We have some news right now. Hunter Biden, the son of...
Okay, that's it on Melania. I forgot to tell y'all, why do Hunter Biden want to fight Trump's son in a cage match? I swear, y'all, you can't make this shit up. This is the last clip.
Former President Joe Biden has challenged Eric Trump and Don Jr., the two sons of the current president, Donald Trump, to a cage match. And if you hear the movement, that's my daughter, because even she doesn't understand the news timeline that we're in currently. Hunter Biden said this on Channel 5 News earlier today, and well, we're now getting confirmation of it.
Trump's son is not there. His sons is not fighting. Hunter need to sit his butt down.
We'll see if the cage match actually happens between the two, but it all comes as Donald Trump is promoting an actual cage match on the White House lawn with Dana White and UFC in honor of America's 250th anniversary. That is happening, and that is happening this summer. And well, they're expected to build a giant UFC arena of sorts on the south lawn of the White House. Tens of thousands of people are set to come. So we'll see what happens, but welcome to 2026. Follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon.
Hey guys, Hunter Biden here.
Here he is, challenging Trump's son to cage fight him. Like, what in the hell? We're in the middle of a war. And this is crazy. Let's go.
I just got a call from Andrew Callahan. He asked me to come out on the Channel 5 Carnival.
He looked just like his dad. This is the sickening
tour at the end of the month. I think we start in Phoenix and then we go to San Diego and we end in Albuquerque. And I think he's trying to organize a cage match, me versus Eric and Don Jr. I told him I'd do it, 100% in, if he can pull it off. And if he can't, I'm still coming. And
somebody said, Hunter is way too old to fight anybody. Diamond Gang, I can't believe this. Yeah, hit the like before we go out. I'm going to read some comments.
I think he's got a lot of other surprises up his sleeve, a lot of fun. And I hope I can see you guys out there. You can get tickets online right now, and I'll see you out on tour.
What the? This is crazy. That's it, Diamond Gang on the clips tonight. I'm going to read a couple comments, and then I'll close out. What y'all think? Yes, they are, Sonia. They are twins. You said this is weird. Wait. Dang. These comments be flying. This is where they're playing us or trying to. Is he broke? I think so. I think he's broke. Hunter was a problem child. Y'all know that. Are they all crazy? Yep. Support the country you live in or live in the country you support. I say yes on that, but I'm not going to support liars. How about that? We need transparency. Okay, somebody said democracies and Republicans are weirdos. So you're saying both parties. Somebody said Hunter's on some stuff. I don't know. He's supposed to be clean. Who knows? You just never know. Diamond Gang, I'm going to keep watching this thing with Melania. I am. So please, y'all. Please. Misspell that word. I was going to put your comment up. Is it Krishna? I got to delete that. You got to misspell that. I would have put it up, but you didn't misspell it. You said, are we in the Twilight Zone? Yeah, I'm sorry. Anything for $1. Yeah, just KC. Okay, KC. Yeah, I was going to put your last comment up, but you spelled the whole word out. You know, Trump has said publicly that he is not a Christian, right? I didn't know that, but I kind of figured that. Somebody said, I think they're all on something. No, it's all good. It's all good. I know you weren't being, harmful to my platform or nothing. You just was speaking your piece. You said Trump is a great president. I gotta let you have it. You know what I mean? All opinions will be respected, even if it's opposing to what I think. You have the right to feel that way. Trump is Jewish. Really? Somebody said Trump is a clown. Trump said he's not a Christian. He just needs their votes. What? D-Man said, I love Trump. Y'all going too fast. God damn it. Trump is king. It's horrible to see how many people are influenced by such a dishonorable president. Yeah, he's very dishonorable. He's a liar. I can't stand a liar. Yeah, please don't disrespect me, because I wouldn't disrespect you. Just don't do it. And if you feel ways, just leave. There's billions of people on YouTube. Trump is getting things done. I need to go back to reality. Because this can't be real. It's happening. Yo! What's up, Mike? Most High is, wait a minute, those comments, Most High is only around what's going on. Call him, be still long enough to hear him. He'll take it from there. That part. He want all of our attention now for your protection. That part. Time to dump Trump. He's insane. Somebody said the devil is a lie. Trump did something, and I think so too, in Israel with them. I believe that. I voted for Trump. Oh, wow. But I'm kind of speechless. I know, and I swear, I feel bad. A couple times I said, oh, everybody's having buyer's remorse. But honestly, I feel bad. You know, I get secondhand embarrassment real easy. And the things that he's doing, I'm like, oh, man. So, but all right, Diamond Gang, it's 1:30 in the morning. I gotta get off of here. Please, guys, hit the like on the way out. I need you guys to subscribe to the channel because pretty soon I will not be over here all the time. I want to start going StreamYard, and I want, my core audience to be there for me. So, when you do verticals, you get a little bit of everybody. You get floaters. A lot of time, people don't even come back. So I'm trying to get a more stable audience. So subscribe to the channel. If it wasn't so late, I would drop the link and let somebody come up. But it's so late. StreamYard is the other side. Right now, I'm running 2 live streams. One on vertical and one just on YouTube. So pretty soon I'll be going live through StreamYard. I'm going to test it. I probably won't get the views that I normally get in these verticals because everybody come through. But at this point, I don't care. It's time for me to start focusing on my core audience. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Julie. But all right, Diamond Gang, I gotta get out of here. I don't want to leave, but I gotta go. Thank you so much for everybody that came in. Shouts out to my new subscribers. Shouts out to my subscribers. And most importantly, thank you to my moderators. I get a lot of traffic through these verticals, and it's hard for them to catch everything. So, oh, thank you. Thank you, Casey. Yeah, stay safe. That's where I'm at. Yeah. Thanks, y'all. I love my group. I just love this crowd. I used to go live like around anywhere between 8:30, 9. And one day I was running late and I was like, I'm gonna try a late night live. I like it. I like it. But all right, Diamond Gang, until next time, I will see you guys soon. Stay safe and keep your notifications on. You never know. Next live stream, I promise, it will be a Jeffrey Epstein update. All right, y'all. Good night.
It's your under degrees. Sip on me. I'll pour it hot, so hot. I'll pour it sweet, so sweet. Spilling his tea, spilling and sipping his tea, spilling and sipping his tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda the Great, feeling great, spilling tea. Have a seat and join me. Sip some tea, unwind with me. Let's grab a snack and talk some smack. I'm your girl, I got your back. I got the news, I got the views. I bet you can't wait, I know you can't wait to sip this tea. Sip this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping 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 this tea. Thanks for watching me, tuning in, subscribing, hitting that like, smash that like. I don't bite, no. It's Yolanda the Great, shining bright, set the stage. Hollywood dreams, red carpet scenes, glitter and glow, the secrets I know. Drama with flair, I serve it rare. I got the scoop, I got the proof. I know you can't wait. So come and escape and sip this tea. Sip with me, spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea. Spilling and sipping this tea.